I just want to say wow, for starters. Somebody near and dear to my heart recently told me that, when you speak from the heart, it tends to go right to the heart. And I think we can all agree that that happened right from the start tonight. So can I just say, yeah. I know that it's sometimes difficult to share stories that are meaningful, but those are the ones that everybody relates to. So I have 2 songs that I wrote that I'd like to share a story behind. They kind of mix. The first one has to do with the first time I jumped out of a plane. So I wrote this song, which ended up turning into an album in 2017. I, too, myself, have struggled with depression and anxiety, and have felt the weight that it can kind of bring on a heart and a mind. And so I was walking across the parking lot after working in a hospice one day in 2017, and my feet were dragging on the ground, and I just was feeling extremely down and out, and not much was making me feel good at the time. And somebody said, maybe you should just do something to make you feel alive. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I went home and I thought about all the things that scare me and all the things that make my heart beat like crazy at the walls of my chest to remind me that I'm alive. And I figured since I didn't like planes or heights, or was actually petrified of heights, that a skydive would be like the best thing ever. So I went and booked it, and as meaningless as the idea was that I was just going to cancel it later, it ended up, I got an email and it was like, welcome to your first skydive. These are all the things you can expect. You're going to fall out of the plane at 200 kilometers an hour, but it's going to be the best thing in your life. And I was like, oh, great. So then when I got to the bottom, it said, this is also non-refundable. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I have to go. So my grandparents were over that weekend, and it was right before my grandma actually got sick. And she said, I said, I really don't want to go. And she said, I don't want you to wait until you're my age to start living as widely and as fiercely as you possibly can. So that got me to the skydive place. And then I ended up going. And the point of it, behind it, was that it was to see the world from a totally different perspective, quite literally, after I opened my eyes and realized that we weren't going to hit any birds on the way down and that I was okay, was a truly significant thing for me. So when my feet hit the ground and I got home and kind of calmed down a bit, I ended up writing this song, which turned into my first album. So the song is called Until Now. Losing track of time, I hardly recognize the reflection in this mirror is mine. I take flight when the winds blow. Half-empty glass is stronger than any backbone. Turn and stone, being bold, holding your heart in the palm of your hand. A weight has lifted. Until now I've resisted letting go of every bent, rigid sorrow. Got a feeling I could be someone. Threw away old maps and signs, dared fear to bend, let me drive. I challenged black and white dreams, and painted in fading lines. And it's all part of the road. Every turn and stone, being bold, holding your heart in the palm of your hands. A weight has lifted. Until now I've resisted letting go of every bend, rigid sorrow. Got a feeling I could be someone. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have one more song tonight that I'd like to leave us with. It's called Not Alone. And the story behind it is I went to school for social work. I started school in 2014 and I graduated last June. And halfway through the degree, we had to do a co-op for our third and fourth years. And I had said to the school, like, I'll take any field, any sector, except for a hospice. I do not want to go to a hospice. And she had said, why? And I said, well, because you know what happens there, and I don't want to be around that, essentially. And I realized after it was because I was scared. So anyway, she got me a hospice, and the time that I spent there is a book in and of itself. But the gist of what I experienced or had the honor of experiencing was very sad, and sometimes it made me cry. Actually, a lot of times it did. Working with individuals and people, you know, living with life-limiting illness and caregivers and the bereaved are things that you take home with you, because living and dying are things that no matter who you are or where you come from or what your story is, you relate to as a person. I think Jan Arden said that to not think of dying is to not think of living, and that encompasses that whole experience and that whole environment where dignity and inclusivity and compassion are all at the front of every day in those places. And I think that we should try and remember that as we live out our lives. So I went to a Jan Arden concert in 2017, December, and there was the worst snowstorm ever, and it was the best concert I've ever been to, but I couldn't find my car when I left. So I'm not from Toronto. And I went in the opposite direction of where my car actually was. And when I got to my car, it was broken, and my phone was dead, like it wouldn't start, and like the teapot light in the dash was like flashing at me, and I was like, I don't know what to do. But I did have my guitar. So I wrote this song. Ironically, it's called Not Alone. I'm pretty sure I was not alone, but it was a parking lot garage. And anyway, the thing that came out from it was that, you know, we all have these roads to walk. Sometimes we don't know where we're going, and that's okay. And sometimes we're faced with turns that catch us off guard, and some miles are much more difficult than others. But through places like hospice, you learn that those difficult miles can be faced with a bit of greater dignity and greater cheer and love. So this song is called Not Alone. Song playing on the radio, I breathe in a dusty old memory. I wasn't just lost, could have sworn my heart stood still from the truth that hung all afternoon. I don't know where I'm going, but I've been running away. Would be okay. Just a little longer, a few more miles down this road. Honey, you are not alone. Bear the weight of the world, then wonder why your knees grew weak and it hurt to breathe. Well, it's taken just as long to heal as it did to hurt, and it's quite strange how against the light all the broken bits line up inside. But I've been running away. Had to believe that things would be okay. Just a little longer. down this road. Honey, you are not alone. I don't know where I'm going, but I've been running away. Had to believe that things would be okay. Just a little longer, a few more miles down this road. Honey, you are not alone. Thank you very much.